we begin with Leticia James because she's spiraling out of control. She actually just filed yet again another lawsuit. We've been talking about lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, right? And they keep getting struck down. I mean, the Supreme Court said, sorry, Tish. You know what? All that money that you want to put towards DEI, this, that, and the other, that's not going to fly. She had joined with 21 other states and DC and was all worked up about that. The latest and greatest today, the new lawsuit that she's filing is about education. She said, you can't take our education funds away. And Donald Trump's like, oh yeah? You know, maybe Tish, you should have thought of that before you started to go after me for literally nothing to the tune of $500 million, and that thing's still hanging out there. Don't get me started on the Court of Appeals. But we saw her the other day. She was melting down. This was right before the Supreme Court and said, you know what, Tish, no go here. It's okay for Donald Trump to take these funds. Well, she's going to do it again, just at another angle with like these 15 states. It seems like a few states wised up. Here she is with Rev Sharpton, moments before she got the bad news that she's about to get again.
Again, I apologize. Listen, 57 years after the assassination of Dr. King, and Dr. King talked about that stone of hope. And it's that stone of hope that gives me a fire in my belly each and every morning. It's that stone of hope that allows me to wake up and to stand to Donald Trump and to say, Donald Trump, I'm not afraid of you. It's that stone of hope. It's that stone of hope that gives me power. That's that stone of hope and the belief in each and every one of you to let you know that I'm not going to allow my ancestors, all of those who died for me to be in this position, I am not going to disgrace them and disappoint them. I am going to use the law both as a sword and as a shield and challenge Donald Trump. And each and every time he issues an illegal executive order, I am going to stand up to him because he represents to me sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
Really, because we all feel like that's exactly what you represent, Leticia James, bringing a case that never should have been brought, and you're rabid. You're just going after him. She's so proud that she brought over 100 lawsuits last time around. Well, now she's doing the same thing again on steroids, complete with the theater. You know, she thinks she's up there preaching. Okay, she's got the crowd going. She's all excited.
Sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. And so DEI, as far as I am concerned, is more than about just black people. Let's be honest.
That's right.
DEI is about paid parental leave. DEI is about disabled children. DEI includes a number of categories. So when they talk about DEI, let them know that they're not only coming after us, but they're coming after all of us. And we've got to stand together, a stand in community, stand with this great organization under the leadership of our civil rights leader, Reverend Al Sharpton, who has been a bright and shining light in the darkness. But I don't know about you. It's that stone of hope that inspires me each and every day. And listen, faith and fear can never share the same space. And so I'm covered by the blood. And I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but no enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me.
All right. Again, I'll stay close.
I mean, it seems a little unhinged. Just a little bit unhinged. Rev's proud of her. Listen, this is a new lawsuit, okay? This is the brand new one that she's bringing because the Department of Education said, you know what, we're not going to give you money because you don't actually have priorities that are aligned with what the federal government believes in. We actually think that your federal priorities are inherently discriminatory. So it's unbelievable. She's got a press release out. I'm going to share with you a quote. I'm surprised you didn't get it in front of the cameras with this one today. The Trump administration's latest attack on our schools will hurt our most vulnerable students and make it harder for them to thrive. cutting school systems access to vital resources that our students and our teachers rely on is an outrageous and illegal move. As a proud graduate of New York City public schools, or New York public schools, I'm going to continue to use every tool at my disposal to fight for our schools and to make sure every children has access, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's the same thing she keeps saying over and over and over again in different ways. And what is she doing but wasting taxpayer dollars? She's out of money, right? She doesn't have any money for her state because she can't put it to the DEI programs and she can't put it to the education programs. They had a certain amount of money that they were supposed to have spent. Remember, because of COVID and everything, they like made these allocations. And a lot of these school systems, they never spent the money. So Donald Trump's like, okay, thank you very much. I'll take that back. And by the way, your agenda does not fit with my agenda. And we have the federal purse power, so to speak, over this, and thus she finds herself up a creek without a paddle. I would imagine that she's going to get the same result on this lawsuit that she got on the other lawsuit, though it's not going to stop her.
Not only does this administration's new policy put people at risk, but it is plainly unconstitutional. The president does not get to decide which laws to enforce and for whom. When Congress dedicates funding for a program, the president cannot pull that funding on a whim. Later today...
Well, in this case, he's not actually pulling it on a whim, Leticia. He's pulling it because your values are not aligned with, well, I don't know, the Constitution. When it comes to the DEI stuff, that's what he would argue. When it comes to immigration, again, that's what he would argue, because what does the federal government have the power to do? Patrol the border. So if Leticia is not going to comply with that, if she's going to say, no, we're going to hoard our criminals in Rikers Island and you can't have access to them, then she's going to find herself in a bit of trouble, right? They're so mad about this. The idea somehow that you're not allowed to export anyone, you're not allowed to deport anyone who's done something wrong and here illegally to begin with, that's kind of like coming down to some sort of foundation issues. Like, that's a pretty big split. Even, dare I say, Whoopi Goldberg on The View was like, oh, I'm not against deporting criminals. I mean, if somebody's a criminal, but these guys are really taking a stand because anything that Donald Trump wants, they don't. Listen to Eric Holder, the former AG for Obama, speaking about this issue on MSNBC.
I mean, let's cut right through this. This is disgusting. It's shameful. It's inconsistent with the rule of law, and it's also inconsistent with who we say we are as a nation. And every American citizen, every inhabitant of this country should be offended by what this administration is doing. But beyond that, every citizen in this country ought to be afraid, because the reality is, if they are successful in doing this to immigrants, and now they're doing things against American citizens, as you talked about before, who criticized the president, it won't be too long. And the president himself has said he had no objections to taking convicted criminals and putting them in the same jail in El Salvador. There's a treadmill that we're potentially getting on here that could result in the erosion of rights for American citizens. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason that we should be concerned about this. People who are in this country deserve the ability to go before courts and have courts make determinations about whether they can stay, whether they should leave, how they should be treated. And this administration wants to take upon itself, to the derogation of the ability of the courts and certainly of the legislative branch, the ability to decide everything. This is how you get authoritarianism. This is remarkably similar to kind of what happened in Europe in the 30s. It's consistent with what we saw happen in Hungary and in Turkey in later days over the course of the last 10, 15, 20 years. And that's not a path that this country wants to go down. And I want people to understand this. If you don't stand up and fight now, if you don't take a position now, it's going to be too late. We can't say we can wait just a little longer. No, the time is now to stand up and do all that we can to fight this administration. Now.
It's all about fighting, right? It's all about trying to gin up this sort of war, if you would, so that all common sense goes out the window.